Welcome to Health Talking You, a podcast that fills you in on the latest health science news from each of the 6 schools and colleges in the Academic Health Center at the University of Minnesota. I'm your host, Nick Hanson, and today we're talking about lung cancer, the leading cause of death in Minnesota, the United States, and the world. Each year, more than 1 million people are diagnosed with lung cancer, and almost as many die from it. In Minnesota, about 2,600 people are diagnosed each year, and another 2,400 die from it. My colleague, Laura Wallenta, had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Jian-Min Juan, a tobacco researcher from the Masonic Cancer Center. She followed up on some of his recent research findings that actually identify which smokers are at the highest risk for developing lung cancer. They also chatted about the causal relationship between tobacco smoking and lung cancer. Welcome to the program, Laura.
Thanks, Nick.
Is it really true that Dr. Juan has developed a method to predict which smokers are at the most risk for developing lung cancer? If that's true, it's pretty incredible.
Yes, it is true. Let me explain. So it's common knowledge that smoking increases a person's risk of developing lung cancer, but there has been no clear way of understanding why one smoker would develop lung cancer and the other would not. From the results of his research, Dr. Juan found a definitive link through NNK, a cancer-causing compound that comes from nicotine metabolites in cigarettes. When this compound enters the body, it is excreted along with cotinine, another byproduct of nicotine, through urination. Juan found that high levels of these compounds, which are found in urine, means a higher risk for developing lung cancer compared to smokers who have lower levels.
Interesting. It seems like nicotine has a large influence on a smoker's risk in developing lung cancer.
Well, nicotine is an active agent in cigarettes and can alter normal cell growth in lungs, but it is also non-carcinogenic. Dr. Juan explains the role it plays and 2 approaches that researchers are studying and believe might help prevent lung cancer for smokers.
Nicotine is not carcinogenic. Nicotine is a so-called molecule can attach to the brain cells to make a smoker excited, just like you drink coffee. Even you reduce nicotine, not necessarily you reduce the harm for the lung cancer development. It's not necessarily that way. But you can, meantime, you can reduce nicotine, can reduce the people who addictiveness to the cigarettes. So that's one way. The other one we want, can we target on these carcinogens? For example, NNK or pH. Can we regulate on that part? Can we set a bar? Any tobacco products, you cannot have this NNK or pH or other potentially carcinogenic compounds exceeding certain limit. Can we impose that? That's still in the research and also still in the debate.
In terms of his research, finding the link between those compounds and lung cancer is just one stage of the process. So what happens next?
The next step in the prevention process is to reduce the levels of cancer-causing compounds in tobacco products, so that less of these toxins are exposed to smokers, ultimately reducing the chances of lung cancer. Think of it this way. Dr. Juan finding the link is really just the informative stage in the research process, but it is certainly vital to understanding tobacco products' relationship to certain forms of cancer.
Okay, so are all tobacco products processed with the same amount of carcinogens, or does it depend on the brand?
That is a really good question, Nick. Dr. Juan said that carcinogens are not present in the tobacco plant. They are created in the processing of the plant to make cigarettes. The way in which the tobacco plant is processed varies from brand to brand, so there are different amounts of carcinogens in each. Juan's study did not ask participants to specify what brand of cigarettes they smoked. The reason for that was because participants are not always consistently smoking the same brand, which makes it hard to definitively say that one brand has a higher link to lung cancer than the other. Juan was not as concerned so much with the brand of cigarettes as the level of tobacco carcinogens in each study participant.
Besides discovering who was at the highest risk for developing lung cancer, have Juan and his colleagues made any other recent discoveries?
Yes, Dr. Juan and his team are onto something else. They discovered another compound that has a high association with a different form of cancer.
Does that mean it's possible if they discover other carcinogenic compounds in cigarettes, it could help find more cancer associations?
Yes, if they do find more of these compounds, they'll be able to predict which types of cancer certain smokers are more likely to develop.
Thanks for that interesting report, Laura. All right, that's it for today's show. We'd like to thank our guests, Laura Wallenta and Dr. Juan, for their time and expertise. If you'd like to learn more about health sciences at the Academic Health Center at the University of Minnesota, just visit www.ahc.umn.edu. You can also find us on iTunes U. Just go to the University of Minnesota homepage and click on Medicine and Health. I'm your host, Nick Hanson, and thanks for listening.